this lesson, we will be looking at segments and their measures. We will be finding the distance between points in one dimension on a number line and in 2 dimensions on the coordinate plane. Okay. First, there are some definitions. First, we have to talk about coordinate. Coordinate is a number or a group of numbers used to designate the position of a point, line, or plane. Think of a number line. A single number will tell you where it is on the number line. And as we dealt with in the past, on the coordinate plane, we use an x and a y, and that will give us both positions there. Next is distance. Distance we are talking about is the length of a straight line connecting 2 points. Congruent segments are 2 or more segments with the same length or the same distance between their points. And lastly, the word between we use in math to say that if a point's in the middle of 3 points and they are all collinear, that makes it between them.
This postulate that we're looking at is called the ruler postulate. And so it says on a number line, every point can be paired with a number. Every number can be paired with a point. The number associated with the point A on a number line is called its coordinate. The distance between 2 points A and B is denoted by AB. So if we're looking for AB, we can basically say, all right, we start at A and move how many units to get to B. And in this case, AB is 2.
For example, let's say we want to go from E to F. We would start from E, and then we would move as many units as it takes to get to F. So in this case, EF is equal to 3. So please try the 4 problems on this page, on this slide. Just remember, all you're doing is counting the number of units to go from the first point to the second point. And the segment addition postulate is basically addition. What it says is if B is between A and C, then AC is equal to the sum of AB plus BC. Because all we're doing is we're adding up the 2 lengths to get the whole length. And the inverse of that is to say if AB plus BC equals AC, then if that's true, then we know that B is between A and C. Okay, for this slide, I would like you to please try to find the sums. For the first 2 of them, it's as simple as adding up your 2 values, here and here. But for the last one, a little bit different. You have to make sure that you're adding some stuff up, but since this is a smaller piece, you're going to have to use subtraction, which is just a subset of the addition postulate. So we're going to have to find this, take the whole thing, and get rid of the 2 parts that we know of to find out what we have left. Now, again, for this one, I want you to basically try it on your own. You're going to draw a line from the coordinates -2, 3 to 4, 3, and -5, 5 to 1, 5. Find out the length of it. It should be a straight, either vertical or horizontal line, each of them, and see if they are congruent. See if they have the same length. If they have the same length, they are congruent. If they do not have the same length, then they are not congruent. And one formula that we are going to have to memorize, something that will come up a lot in many different forms, is called the distance formula. And it's basically this right here. You might want to write this down separately. This will be very useful. Basically, it says d, the distance, is equal to what is essentially the square of the difference in x's plus the square of the difference in y's, and then the square root of the whole thing. So if that doesn't make sense on its own, let's look at an example and see how we use that. So essentially what we have to do is we are going to find the distance between the x's. So we have an x here and we have an x here. And so to find the distance, well, we can just draw it and figure it out that way, but we usually want to do this mathematically. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our parentheses, and we have 5 minus 1. And we're going to add that to the sum of our y values. So in this case, we have 5 minus 2. And we're going to square both of them. And then we're going to, after doing all of that, we're going to square root everything. And this might not be an even number. So let's see what happens. So we do 5 minus 1, order of operations, parentheses first, 4, and then we're going to square that, plus, and then over here, 5 minus 2, 3 squared, and then we are going to square root the whole thing. 4 squared will give us 16, plus 3 squared will give us 9, and then we're eventually going to square root all of that. 16 plus 9 will give us 25, and the square root of 25 is 5. So our distance from this point, this line here, is 5 units. So now for this last one, I'd like you to try it on your own, but I'd like to start you off a little bit because there's one little thing that some people tend to have problems with, and that is the fact that we're dealing with negatives. So when we're dealing with our x's, what we're going to start off doing is we're going to have 4 minus, but then we have a negative 2. And once we do that, we square it. So remember, this is minus negative, which will be plus positive. And then the rest of it, I'd like you to be able to handle on your own. And that is the end of this video. Again, please leave me any comments. Let me know anything that is good or bad, any questions you have, and I will do my best to respond to them. Thank you.